chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. Hey. Hey. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. Yeah. All I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at.
Hello and welcome once again to BW Live this fine Wednesday that the Lord has made. And today we are going to have a powerful discussion because as women there are some questions we have about men. Unaelewa mwanamume ni nani? So that is a big topic that we are going to have today, just to understand who a man is. As a wife, you want to know who your husband is. As a lady, you want to understand these men even before you get yourself into any relationship. So keep it here because we're going to focus into this. And with me in studio to broaden on this chapter or this topic is Pastor Sylvester Odanga, who is also a lecturer at University of Kabianga, and so many other hats that I cannot mention, but maybe he can. So the opportunity to you, Daktari, kwanza labda ujitambulishe in detail because I know I've not mentioned some things. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. I'm Reverend Dr. Sylvester Odanga. I'm a pastor with Shalom Logos Church in Kisumu. I'm a lecturer at the University of Kabianga. I am a husband by love and a parent by reproduction.
I thought by choice. Okay. Karibu sana, Pastor. And we're going to speak about men. And I'm glad that I'm talking to a man that I believe understand who he is. Lazima ujielewe, ndio sasa ueleze wengine this is who we are. So let's take this off. Number one, we want to know a man. Who is a man? Let's begin from there.
Thank you very much. Yes, I want to talk about men because fortunately, I've been a man all my life. I was born one, and up to now I've been one. What is a man? A man, many ladies think that a man is simply a woman in trousers. A man is not a woman in trousers. A man is a whole different animal to what a woman is. A woman is totally different from a man. And so the major difference, even if we leave alone the physical differences, the major difference between a man and a woman is in the way they think, the way their brain works. And when you understand the way the mind of a man works, then you are able to understand why he behaves the way he behaves. And when you understand the way a man thinks, you are even able to predict how he is going to behave in any given situation that he may be put in. if you don't know how men think as a lady, if you are concerned with any man in your life, if you don't know how men think, then at every juncture, their behavior is a complete surprise. And some of them you may find even weird. Yet to the man himself, he feels he's just behaving the most natural way that he can imagine. So let me just begin from there and tell the ladies and every other person that a man is not a lady in trousers. He's a whole different animal. Yes.
So it's not just only physical, that, oh, this is how a man is created, this is how a woman is created. It's more than that.
The physical is almost a minor detail.
Okay.
The biggest difference is in the way their mind works, which informs how they talk, how they behave, how they relate with the people, what they think are important, their priorities, what they would look at and think that this is what I should do and how I should do it. And a lady will look at the same thing and think very differently from the man. And when the man does it in a different way, the lady will find that the men are funny. And the men will find the lady is crazy. And they say ladies are crazy. Because just like ladies don't understand the way men think, men also don't understand the way ladies think. And now you can imagine when these two people are brought together in a house, they are basically total strangers to one another. They love each other like mad. They want the best for each other, but they don't. Many times they have no clue of how the other person works. And so today we are going to talk about how the brain of a man works, how the mind of a man works, what things are important. And you know, there are even things in the background of a man which we may say in the development or in the evolution of a man. Traditionally, in the long gone days, we were told that men were hunters and the ladies were gatherers. The ladies would go gathering the fruit near the homestead. The men would go deep into the forest with spears and arrows to hunt the wild animals to bring home for food, for example. Now, that is what they were used to. The enjoyment of their life was in the chase. As they chase the wild animal, it is so nice and so sweet. When they catch it, the excitement comes down. When they bring the dead animal home and drop it at the foot of the wife to be cooked, their interest in the animal is finished. And if you understand this, this will explain why a man, for example, will spend so much energy, so much effort, so much resources in capturing.
Kukatia.
Yes, kukatia mtu. They'll spend so much energy to capture the attention of a lady, convince the lady to marry them, and once they have married this lady, it's like they have brought the animal home. Your interest in the animal ends the moment the animal is at home. Now this is the natural wiring of a man. The lady will begin crying and saying, why are you not doing to me what you were doing to me before I got married to you?
Yes.
And the man feels, but of course, I'm no longer chasing you. I got you. And here you are now. A friend of mine once told his wife that you don't continue to give bait to fish that you have caught. That's how just the mind of a man works. And the lady needs to understand this, and the men also need to understand this, because it's not healthy. It's not healthy for our long-term relationships. If you want to be married to a lady and enjoy the relationship with that lady, and you treat her like you are biologically wired to lose interest the moment she's home, your relationship is not going to do very well. So not only do the ladies need to understand their men, the men also need to understand that this is my wiring. But although biology wires me like that, I'm a man of intelligence, I'm a man of some thinking capacity, this is not good for my marriage. Therefore, let me deliberately do some things to mitigate and to cancel the effect of this biological wiring in my system. Then you are going to have a healthy relationship and a nice marriage. Every man with an enjoyable marriage has learned how to negate some of his innate, natural, biological wiring.
But are we guaranteed of 100% dedication after they have brought the woman home okay, umeamua, you say that, okay, as a sound-minded man, I'm not going to behave like the way we are wired biologically, that I'm now going to stop to do the things I do. But then, is it going to be 100% the way it used to when you were being chased and now that you're home?
There's no guarantees in life. Let's begin from there. There are no guarantees in life. This brings me to another thing about men and ladies. Ladies are naturally wired to love and to nurture relationships and to maintain relationships. Men, on the other hand, are not wired for that. From the Bible, I can bring this in from the life of Adam. When Adam was made, he was alone in the Garden of Eden with wild animals, with all these trees and all these fruits. And the guy had no problem, according to him. It is God who looked at the guy and said, okay, my friend, you have a problem. But the man felt it was just okay. And he went around naming things. This is elephant, this is lion, this is what. And he was just okay in that garden. And so when the lady now came, it was a surprise to him.
Pastor,
and a relief to him.
Allow me cut in before you
Yes.
bring in that part. Yes. Okay, I know some things are not written in the Bible, but we assume that is how it happened. So when you're saying that Adam alone naming things together with animals, birds, and any other thing other than a human being was okay. I've heard some people say, I don't want to say men of God, but I have some people say that, oh, Adam was not complete. He would now sit in some corner, very sad, after naming and walking with the zebra, coming back still feeling unfulfilled. Isn't that not true?
I don't know. Probably they are just exercising their imagination, like I'm also trying to exercise mine. And from what is written, it is God who said, it is not good for man to be alone. Let us make for him a help meet, a companion who is suitable for him. He didn't say that. Yeah. So I from the silence, I can say he didn't say it, or we can say that probably Moses didn't write it, but if he said it, Moses would have written it. It's God who saw the fellow had a problem.
Yes.
The man was just walking around, and it was pretty okay, according to him. And what I wanted to develop from there is that from there, a man spends some indefinite amount of time alone, without a lady in the picture, and then the lady comes into the picture. But the moment the lady comes, there's another human being in the picture. And so that tells me that the ladies are better wired to relate with people and other human beings than the men are. And even modern scientific research supports that ladies are more relationally oriented than the men are. The lady will find fulfillment in their home and in their house, with their child, with their spouse and their friends. The man will find fulfillment in his work and in his occupation, usually outside the home. And so that's why I'm developing it all the way from Adam. But the next thing I want to develop from there is that because men have this kind of wiring, whether we develop it from the biblical experience of Adam or we bring it from modern scientific research on the occupational orientation of men, it tells you that men have difficulty loving. The first time men begin to get attracted to the females in their teenage, it is usually for sexual fulfillment. And a lot of it is based on lust. So that to love in a steady way that can maintain a relationship for a man requires discipline. It does not come to him as naturally as it comes to the lady. And I've observed even among children, let's say 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, you'll find girls walking with hands around the waist of another, or even the hand around the shoulders of another. Have you ever seen boys doing that to fellow boys?
In fact, it will raise eyebrows.
It will raise eyebrows. So that just tells you that these ladies, even from a very tender age, are having a better capacity to love and to express it than their male counterparts. So that by the time the lady reaches 22, 23, 24, she's had like almost 18 years of practicing on relationships.
Yes.
But the boy is just beginning to discover this new world of relationships. Look even at the plays of the babies, of the young children, when they are 4, 5, 6, 7. The girls will be playing with the dolls, and they are pretending that this is my baby, they are doing this with the baby, this is my friend, this is now who, this is... What they play at are relationships. The boys will be playing with cars, and they'll be going vroom, 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 vroom. You go to a place where boys are playing, it is all non-verbal communication. Vroom, 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 tidit, vroom, vroom, vroom. Go to a place where girls are playing, it is all verbal communication. Where letter nini, where bring this one, do the other one, do this. They are all talking. Now, somebody who is brought up doing a lot of non-verbal communication, another one is brought up doing a lot of verbal communication. Who is going to be better in maintaining a relationship?
Okay, let me dwell there a little bit.
Yes.
On the upbringing,
Yeah.
they play with the cars, they're kind of toys, and the
Yes.
kind of toys girls play with.
Yeah.
Don't you think that this is something that also the parents kind of build in? Because even as parents, sometimes you go to the shop, you have a boy and a girl at home, and as you go to the toy area, you're picking dolls for the girl, you're picking cars for the boys. But don't you think that this kid that has not yet been exposed, you can give a girl a car and they will be okay? You can give the boy a doll and they will be okay?
I tried it.
Okay.
I tried it. I'm a parent of a young adult, I'm a parent of a teenager, I'm also a parent of young children. And I remember with my firstborns, I tried it. If I bought a car for the boy, I would buy a car for the girl. If I bought a doll for the boy, for the girl, I would buy a doll for the boy. What happened was that the girl would keep her car and not play with it. 6 months, even 1 year, 2 years down the road, that car is as good as the way it came from the shop. The boy would begin playing with that car immediately. 1 week, 2 weeks down the road, the car is no more. The doll, on the other hand, the girl would begin playing with the doll and every day be removing and arranging them in a house play and put them, and these are my dolls, and now we are cooking, and now we are doing this. Meanwhile, the boy would not even take a second look at his doll. And so, on one hand, we may think the parents are wrong, but I think the parents are recognizing there is a deeper biological wiring in these human beings that is just different from the word go. And if I may bring it to the biological side, even the development of a boy and a girl in the womb are different. Hormones begin to rush in their bodies while they are still in the womb to affect even the way their brains are developing before they are born. So that the differences between boys and girls, yes, a part of it is cultural, but a large portion of it is natural.
Okay.
Yes, not done by the parent. Yes.
You said that men are different from women, not just because of their physical, of their physique, but also the way they think.
Yeah.
You think differently from women, the way you
Yes.
see things
Yes.
differently from women. Can you give a few examples of a scenario, maybe in this occasion, this is how a woman will react, this is how a man will?
Okay, so men think differently from the ladies. One of the major differences between the ladies and the men is that there's a lot of connection between what we call the left brain and the right brain. A lot of connection in the brain of the women. But in the men, those connections are fairly minimal. The result of this is that ladies are able to multitask very well. Right now, as we are sitting here, you are able to talk to me, think of the next question, worry about the set, and think about your home, and think about your children, and all that.
And type something on
And
my
type
laptop.
something here. I can't do that.
Okay.
Me, I'm just thinking of what I'm telling you. I'm not thinking of any other thing. So that is one of the differences in the way the ladies think. Another thing that comes from this interconnection in the brain of the lady is that in the brain of the lady, therefore in the mind of the lady, everything is connected to everything. The child is connected to the father, is connected to the house, is connected to work, everything is connected. But in the mind of the man, everything is having its compartment. There's a compartment for work, and there's another compartment for home. And the rule is these compartments will never touch. And there's another compartment for the wife, another compartment for the children, and another compartment. Even if he's having 3 businesses, each business has its compartment, which they will not touch. And then they're in a bigger compartment called business. And so when a lady now meets something at work, for example, when you have female colleagues at work, you work with them for about a year or 2. Most of the time, you'll know everything about their families. It will just come out by default. You'll know the number of children they have, you'll know every other the school they're going to, you'll know where the husband is working, you'll know everything about them.
Because you asked or they just talk.
It will just come out by default. But the men will not tell you. Many of them, they're basically saying outside their houses. And you wonder, when you're told this person is married with children, you'll get shocked. Because that is a compartment that he left at home and that is not bringing to work. And this also brings in why now, for example, the man can be very much stressed in one place. He goes to another place and is okay. But the lady will be stressed all around from all the other things. Yes. I'm enjoying the way you're thinking about many things right now. But that's okay.
Now I'm just looking at my my handyman and things are different. They've not noticed, I have noticed. Anyway, before we go to, because I know ladies are like, okay, how do I know a good man from a bad man? Because anyway, we have both. Some men are terrible, and we have good men out there. So before we tell you about a good man and about a bad man and how you will know, there is this thing that has been the norm. Lately, it's cutting across even in Africa. It started in the West, and ilikuwa inafanywa chini ya maji. These days it is very public. I'm talking of transgender, where a man goes back to be a woman and vice versa. So when you're saying that it is not about the physical, so this person that was born a man with everything else about him being a man, and then they change into a woman, what happens with this person?
Wow. What I'm going to say next is going to appear as if it is contradicting what I said earlier, but they'll be reconciled as we go. Now, human beings are human beings. So that, yes, I'm born a man, and I have all these hormones and all this physique and all the physical attributes of being a man, but I'm also a human being. And you are born a woman, and you have these physical attributes, and you have the hormones of being a woman, but you are a human being. First and foremost, you are human beings, and then secondly, you are a male or a female.
Okay.
Now, when we now come back to just being a male, a human being, in my studies, in my observations, and in my research, and this is done, I've done a lot of studies on this, and a lot of it has been done in Fiji and Samoa, where some of these things are more pronounced. I've come to the realization that, yes, I'm a man, but I have feminine elements in me. And you can be a lady, and you have feminine, a male, or you can call them masculine elements in you.
Okay.
So that there is no man who is 100% masculine. He'll be having a certain percentage that is feminine. And there is no female that is 100% feminine. She'll be having elements which are some percentage which is masculine. I mentioned Samoa, the countries of Samoa and Fiji. And in the countries of Samoa and Fiji, they don't have 2 genders. They have 5 genders.
Okay.
Yes, where they have what they call the male-male. That is the highly masculine male. Then they have the male-female, which is the predominantly male but slightly female. Then they have the male-female, which is almost the same amount masculine and feminine. Then they have the female-male, which is predominantly female but slightly male. Then they have the female, which is almost 100% feminine. And that categorization occurs even in every other human being. So that every human being, we are somewhere on this spectrum from being 100% female to 100% male. There's nobody who's 100% female and 100% male. We are somewhere in the spectrum. At the beginning, when I was introducing myself, and earlier on when you were in a meeting with you somewhere, I remember I introduced myself and I said that I've been a man most of my life.
Yes.
And that should have raised eyebrows because you should have thought I should have said I've been a man all of my life. But I said I've been a man most of my life because I recognize the feminine aspects of me. And sometimes I operate in them and work in them, just like any other female would do. And then I come back to being the masculine in me. So now when we come to the transgender, you said I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we now come to the transgender, it is an expression of this conflict in every human being. In some people, that conflict is suppressed because of culturalization, but some people, it is so loud they can't ignore it. And then they discover that a significant part of me, although I'm biologically male, a significant part of me is feeling female. Or although I'm biologically female, a significant part of me is feeling male. Now, does that mean I encourage changing your gender? I don't. These are things that God gives us to enjoy. I remember there was a situation where a young man was feeling so female that he changed his gender to being female. And his reasoning was that he's feeling like a girl trapped in the body of a boy. After he changed his gender, he was now discovering his male aspect. And then he now began feeling like a boy trapped in the body of a girl. So that he could have avoided all this by just enjoying the way God made him to have the feminine expressions that he should have, and the feminine feelings and the feminine tendencies and the feminine abilities. Some of those highly feminine abilities that some males may have are things like intuition. Intuition is highly developed in females more than in males. But you can also be a male with a very highly developed intuition. The others are sense of beauty and sense of symmetry and how things should look nice. Generally, men don't have that sense highly developed. But you can be a man with a highly developed sense in that regard. So that we can even have men who are helping make other people beautiful, and they can do it better than other ladies. They're just using the feminine aspect of them. Yeah, so that is what I can say over there. I hope we are not confusing anybody.
Me too, I hope so. I promised that we were going to talk about how ladies can know a good man from a bad man. But before we go there, yes, we have good men.
Yes.
And that means that if you're not a good man, then you're a bad one.
Yeah.
So before we get into that question of how to know, what differentiates the two? That this one is a good man, this one is a bad one.
I may say that what distinguishes the two are basically two things. The first would be the willingness to take traditionally male roles. And the second would be the willingness to make the sacrifices necessary for a relationship to take place.
Okay.
Those are that is what I would use to distinguish between a good man and a bad man. A bad man would be someone, a male to me, who is unwilling to take the traditional male roles. And the traditional male roles here, to me, are just two. One is to protect sensibly, and two is to provide reasonably.
Okay, okay. Why do we have reason in provision?
Yes. Because you can't provide beyond your ability. Somebody once said that we must always maintain the standard of our living, even if we must borrow to do so. That was not providing reasonably. Yes, it was providing unreasonably. So providing reasonably means providing within your means as you try to increase that means. That is what providing reasonably is. And then protecting sensibly. Because the man comes in the life of the lady to offer security, to offer protection, not only physically, but also even socially, and again financially and materially. Now, he should provide this with some sense, because that does not mean that you should protect your partner from every mistake that they make. Some of them they can get the consequences of, because life has a way of punishing you,
Yes.
even if nobody beats you up. But then there are some within some sense that you should protect her from. So those are the traditional roles. Now, the willingness to do or carry out these traditional roles marks a good man for me. And the unwillingness to do this marks a bad man for me. And then the second part is the willingness to make the necessary sacrifice to maintain a relationship.
Okay.
Because maintaining a relationship for a man requires a lot of sacrifice. The discipline that is required to love a lady perpetually after you have brought her home against your hunter instinct requires some sacrifice.
Yes.
So that willingness to do that marks a good man.
Okay.
Yes.
So how will these ladies know that, okay, I'm being hunted by more than one? So how will I know amongst the number that is chasing after me? Now, this one is a good one, this one no. What are the telltale signs?
I would have answered that question from a male perspective, but I won't.
Come on.
Let me answer it from the female perspective. Because you're a female, is the female who is looking, is not a fellow man. But this is where, again, a responsible, mature male figure, or we can call father figure,
Yes.
in your life can really help.
Okay, okay.
A mature father figure in your life, if you introduce them to some of these boyfriends, they can take a look at them, talk with them briefly, and they'll be able to tell you, this guy is irresponsible. This guy is irresponsible.
Just by looking at them.
Yeah, and talking a little bit. Yes. Sometimes just by looking and talking with them, something you just say, this fellow he's very clean, he's very tidy, but below that there is
there's
nothing. There is nothing.
Okay.
Well, another one may be reasonably clean, not shabby, just reasonably clean, and you feel this one looks responsible. He can embrace his responsibilities and move along with them. Another thing I can say there now from the lady's side is the intuition. Because you have said that a man should be able to protect and provide.
Yes.
When you look at him, has he ever provided for anybody? If he's neglected his own mother, who tells you he'll take care of you?
You are in danger.
You are in serious danger. If there's nothing is taken care of, his house is in a shambles. I mean, sometimes you just see a man has really tried, he's bought this, he's bought this, he's bought this. He doesn't know how to keep them clean, but they are there.
Yes.
But some they're keeping clean, but they're keeping clean kibuyus and jerrycan, and you wonder what's going on around here. So that should be able to tell you, if he can't provide for himself reasonably, how can he provide for both of us reasonably?
Yeah.
Then, even when you relate with him, you should be able to see, because the moment a man expresses interest in a lady, he automatically begins to protect that lady. It should come naturally. He should automatically begin to offer some level of protection to that lady. If ever since you've been relating with him, you are still feeling exposed, like somebody without an umbrella in an El Nino rain, you know you've got wrong number.
How are they supposed to be protecting you during courtship, for example?
During courtship, for example, he should be able to protect you by demonstrating care, care and concern.
Okay.
Is he bothered that you people are parting and rain is coming and it looks like you don't have hair? Is he bothered?
Okay.
Yeah. If you're just saying, thank you very much, God bless you, see you tomorrow.
Fika salama.
Fika salama. No, that may not be the right person. So you'll know this by him demonstrating care and concern. That is the root of protection. Then automatically he may not get all of them, because sometimes ladies, that's another difference. Sometimes ladies think that the men should just know without being told what the lady wants. The ladies think like that because ladies usually can know what the man wants without the man talking, because they have this high sense of intuition. But we said that's one of the difference between men and women. The men, our intuition is not that highly developed. So you may give hints, or sometimes you may say, yeah, but there should be some level of concern that makes you saying or giving hints be something easy that can be picked up on. But if you must hammer the nail with a sledgehammer for it to enter, then there might be a problem over
Kuna
there.
shida, run.
Find a way of extricating yourself slowly but surely from that relationship.
Does it have to be slowly if I feel like taking off?
If you feel like taking off, I would suggest you don't take off.
Okay.
Yeah, I would suggest you extricate yourself reasonably, because you know the way you get out of a relationship determines or is determined by the quality of your character.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're a person of noble character, you want, although they have hurt you and you think they're a wrong number, you don't want to hurt them in return. And so you want to come out in a way that, yes, you're coming out, but you've done everything reasonable so that they're not hurt too much. They'll get hurt, but they're not getting hurt too much.
Kidogo tu.
Yes. And not deliberately from your side. Yes.
There is this question where ladies say that, I'll change him. You get into marriage saying, oh, I'll change him. If this man cannot be a reasonable provider during courtship, or even security during courtship, will they be when you get into marriage?
The short answer is no.
Okay.
Somebody has said that men marry women hoping the women won't change. They do. Women marry men hoping the men will change. They don't. So they won't. Because the sure rubber stamp that you like me just the way I am is you coming to stay with me. So why should I change?
Okay. You mentioned something earlier when you're just trying to help ladies know or to tell a good man from a bad one, and you brought in the aspect of a father figure.
Yeah.
So is it, how do I ask this? Are all father figures able to tell that this is a good man or a bad man, or some fathers may not be very good at it?
Of course, people differ in their abilities, but an average father figure is usually better in telling a good man than an average daughter figure.
Okay, okay.
Yes, so the abilities differ, and that is why I didn't limit it to your biological father.
Yes.
I extended it to your father figure, so that I open you up to go to a pastor. There are some pastors who know, there are some mentors who can help you, there are some other older people who can help you. It is not necessarily one particular one, but I'm almost 100% sure that if you look well enough around you, usually God will place these people around you so that you know that so-and-so is able to help me in getting a good man.
Yes.
Yes. So it's not all the father figures, but some of them may just, and then you know the Bible says in the multitude of counselors there is safety. So that if you can get like 2 or 3 to give you their honest opinion, you'll more or less come to the right conclusion. Yes.
As we are finishing this, let's wrap it up. But before we do, there are some aspects I would love you to maybe expound on.
Yes.
Some women have made a choice not to maybe get married. There are those that have not married, but then maybe there are kuna other things that go on. But is a man important in the life of a woman? Or you can live without a man and everything else is just okay?
I think a lady can live on her own. It's possible. Just like men, there are men who are given the gift of celibacy. They can live on their own without a woman. By the same token, there are ladies who are given the gift of celibacy. They can live without a man. But that, like we are saying, it is a gift. Not everybody is born with that ability. The usual, and we can say quote unquote natural way, that is not to say that having the gift of celibacy is unnatural, but when I say natural here, I simply mean the usual, the more common one. The more common one is that men live with women and women live with men. And there is a way in which living with a man will develop you and develop your character and help you in personal development more than if you don't live with a man. Yes, because there's a whole world that a man will expose you and open you to as a lady that you would never have known existed if you didn't live with a man. So it's good. It's good, it's important, but it's not for everybody. Those who are able to do it, take advantage of it. But if you are given the gift of celibacy, we'll respect and honor that. But sometimes you find that someone is not given the gift of celibacy. And how do we know that? We know that because they change men. They just don't live with one. They have what can be called serial polyandry. Serial polyandry, where they have one husband after another, after another, after another. That one is not having the gift of celibacy. That is having the gift of many husbands.
Is that a gift, really?
Not from God. It's a gift, but not from God.
Okay. Now we have understood the difference between men and women. But then, if you don't have that gift of celibacy, you want to settle into marriage. But we need this understanding that this is who a man is, and a man also needs the same understanding. This is who a woman is, for us to, I don't want to say coexist, because if you have come together as husband and wife, you're supposed to live together.
Yes.
So how can women, because today we are understanding the men, how can women live with men? After understanding some of these things, they are very difficult even to digest. And okay,
Yes.
so he has to be like that. Like you have to agree with that. How can we really get into it, understand, and to live with them?
I think, how can you live with us? First, like you have said, understand us. You can only live with us first from a point of understanding. The Bible commands men to live with women according to understanding. That is the book of 1 Peter. But I believe also the other side is also true. Women can also only live with men according to understanding. So first of all, understand how men work. Once you have understood how men work, then if there are things you want to change, you can now work together with him to change him. So that is a collaborative effort in trying to change certain aspects of him. And having understood him that some of these things are biological wiring and centuries old of culturalization, then you know that if this thing took long to be built in, it will take long to bring out. He may not be able to change overnight. But that does not mean that change is impossible. Change is possible. And like I said earlier, all the men who have enjoyable marriages have learned to understand the ladies, and the ladies have learned to understand them, and the men made changes in their lives, which some of them are counter their biological wiring. We've not talked about the biological wiring of men for polygamy, for example, which will make a man to cheat. But you can't, there's no lady you can live with happily if you're going to cheat. So as a man, you'll have to find a way of negating that wiring. And you can work together. If there's a wife that can work together with the husband to do that, that's a great lady. And they're going to have a great relationship.
Finally, Pastor.
Yes.
We kind of now understand who a man is. I know there are so many things in it that we have not talked on, but just finally, do all men understand these things you're talking about? Do they understand themselves that as a man, this is who I am? Or some of them don't even understand themselves?
That's true. Actually, a large percentage of men don't understand themselves. They are born like that, they move like that, and if you ask them to change, they'll tell you, this is the way I am, which is a very lazy response. Yeah. So many men don't understand themselves, and what's worse, many men are not even willing to change themselves, because some of our biological wiring needs to be changed if you are going to have a healthy relationship. So if we don't accept that these things need to be changed, and if we reject any attempt to change it, then it will not help us. So not all men, and I would think that, like I said, only those who are having enjoyable marriages have learned to understand that, hey, I have things in me that I must work against, that I must not say yes to, I must say no to, so that I can live with this great lady from wherever she's coming from. So most men, I would say, I don't know whether to say most, let me just say many, men don't understand themselves. And you'll find them now moving like a log down a stream, just being carried on that stream of their biological wiring and being knocked against every stone along that river. But when you find out this is what kind of a person I am, I must discipline myself to love this lady, for example. I must do A, B, C, D, which are foreign to me as a man, but which this lady needs. Then I do them, and then have a great relationship with her.
Wow.
Yes.
So we kind of need a male conference to teach men who they are. Thank you so much, Pastor.
Thank you so much.
I'm giving you this opportunity, a few seconds maybe, to say your last word, something you'd love just to get out of there before we finalize.
In conclusion, I would wish to say this to the men. Study yourself. Yes, because we go to school and we study all these logies, you know, be it biology and theology and which other logy you study. But have you ever studied myselfology? That is the most important subject that we should study in the school of life. Study yourself. And the better you understand yourself, the better you are able to relate with other people. And some of the best courses that should be taught in life are not taught in any university. For example, there is no single university offering a course called Husbandology 101 or even Wifology 101, so that in second year you can now do Wifology 201. And yet, if you don't do Wifology seriously, you can't live with a wife. And if you don't do Wifology seriously, you can't be a good wife. So these are courses that should be taught in life that are not offered in any school, but which we should teach ourselves, so that we can understand that this is how females work, and this is how I should behave when I want to live with one. This is how males work, and this is how I should behave so that I can live with one. So study yourself and study other people for a better relationship.
Wow, thank you so much. That's Pastor Sylvester Danga, and also a lecturer at University of Kabianga. And it's a wrap for this show, but we shall be having more and more of this. I hope that you have learned something as a man, and as a woman, now you understand something. But just to wrap this up, we need to understand each other. So you have to learn who a man is, because that is why we were speaking on this as a woman, and also the men, vice versa. You also have to know who a woman is. After learning, then what? Some of us get this knowledge and then we're like, and mago kadonje. You feel me? By the way, there is this term they use in Kijaluo. Dakotije tek mao kadonje. You need to understand this woman and then have the willingness to want to work together with this woman to have a better relationship. But if you are going to throw our hands in the air and say, I can't deal with that, then you're not going to have a good relationship. Thank you so much for keeping it here. We shall be doing this every Wednesday on BW Live, and also on my YouTube channel, Beatrice Wasonga. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Chosen generation, we've been called for to show His excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know